First of all, do you find it weird that you are the most popular on a social media platform that most people go to just escape, right? I mean, most people are going there for like funny looking videos and funny pictures and funny memes, but you're putting out stuff that really is quite pure. It's these thoughts.
Yeah, I think there's Instagram's an interesting place. It's a giant spectrum, right? From cat memes to like very serious things about personal transformation, and
to videos, to pictures,
literally anything,
to
like
quote pictures, like is what you're really good at, to stories, right? There's a lot of weird things on there.
Right, there's just so much, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people are, I feel like collectively, especially in the Western world, I feel like a lot of us are growing up, right? We realize that money can't buy happiness. We realize that, we have a lot of things that we need to deal with that have happened in our past. So a lot of people are actually asking themselves, how do I become happy, right? How do I let go of these things that I know I'm feeling inside? How do I release this intensity that's sort of limiting my ability to think clearly, to be free, to be happy? And I think social media is sort of fitting that place. And a lot of people who have done and are doing that inner work are trying to share with each other, whether they're meditators or psychologists or yoga teachers or who knows what, right? So many people are out there who have done some of this work at least and are sharing with other people, this worked for me, or this is what I've been thinking about. And that's one of the beauties, I think, especially of Instagram, is that I remember hearing before that it's one of the places where people actually become the most depressed, right? They're seeing other people, they're checking other people's lives. But I would also say that it's one of the places where people are most inspired by far.
So weird. It's like this weird designer drug. And I've been on social media for about 8 years now. And, that Instagram app, especially if you launch into the discovery place, don't hit the magnifying glass, because you literally go down a road where at the end you've binged on something and it's like eating a box of donuts. Afterwards you feel horrible, you don't respect yourself, and you're like, what did I just do? But it literally is the crack cocaine of social media, because you can get lost in there. But at the same time, you can also find some amazement there.
Right, you can find things and ideas that you're trying to cultivate now so that you can be that future self that you really can be. And I think, to me, that's so important that we can even support each other in that way. It's big. And I love that you said that you can lose yourself in Instagram. That's one of the what I like to tell people is use that timer. Like in your settings, set up that timer. I set mine to an hour and a half. The moment it clicks and it's like, Diego, you've been on this for an hour and a half. It's like, all right, I need to put it down. I did enough work. That's fine.
Yeah, I've been getting the 30-minute notifications recently on Instagram. It's like a slap in the face. Like,
yeah.
And it's funny. We were talking, I think, recently about this guy Naval who was on Joe Rogan. I forgot his surname, and he said something. I think it was him, where he says, we are now in a crisis of abundance when it used to be one of scarcity, say 100 years ago, when there wasn't enough food and there wasn't enough this and there wasn't enough media. But now we're in a crisis of too much. So now your biggest job is to not eat the food, to not consume the media, whereas in the past it would be like, there's not enough food, there's not enough love, there's not enough communications, there's not enough ideas. Now there's too much. So when you go in, you got to be disciplined. You got to be following Yung Pueblo and London Real and nobody else, right? But you have to curate your life and be disciplined, right? Because if you're not, you'll go down into this road of...
You're going to fall into a pit of pleasure. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, how quickly we become addicted to pleasure. It's not necessarily, this thing or that thing. It's more so just like this sensation of pleasure that we want to feel things that are not only are pleasant, but are just easy, simple, or enjoyable. And when we get caught up in that, we lose ourselves very quickly, and that can become a very dark place. But it's funny because when you say discipline, it's not only for the individual, right? Because at the same time, we have to find that discipline within ourselves and not fall into all this abundance. But collectively, isn't it the same thing, right? We as a human species, we need to figure out discipline because we've been able to create all this amazing technology, all this abundance, but at the same time, it's harming our world.